So the company overview. We're London listed on AIM and also on the TSX, which we were dual listed this year. And we're also trading on the OTCQX in New York. We're developing Landia Gold Project in Nicaragua into production. We've got very high grade deposit. You've got probable reserves there of 7 million tons at 3 grams for 675,000 ounces. And we got indicated and inferred ounce of gold that averaged 4 grams at about 2.3 million in total. We're in the final stages of permitting, and I'll come on to this in a moment. We're trying to prove a major gold district of about 4 to 5 million ounces of gold. Nicaragua is a mining-friendly jurisdiction, and we've got a strong board and management team. They've just had the former CEO of PDAC, a big mining conference in Canada, and a senior geologist from Gold Corp joined the board. And I mentioned we're listed in Toronto. So our strategy is two-prong. It's to permit and construct the base case, 2,800 tons a day, producing 100,000 ounces of gold a year. And secondly, to add another couple of million ounces. The investment case, if I go straight on to that, we're about a quarter the valuation of the Canadian peer group, hence the Canadian listing. We're priced to book value of 0.2, ounces in the ground, about $17 an ounce in the ground at the moment. It's one way of looking at these companies. Our break-even is $700 an ounce gold, or $700 all-in sustaining cash costs. Gold price today is about $1,320. The base case will be about 80,000 ounces of gold a year. We'll look to increase that, and we think there's upside from adding in feeder pits and underground and this district scale. That's Nicaragua. It's the biggest country in Central America. Gold is the third biggest export. They let you own 100% of it. There are 3 big producing mines in the country, and they view mining as a way of alleviating poverty, and this is the poorest country in South America. Just going into the core of the project, this is only about 10% of the area. You can see this is what's called a low sulfidation epithermal vein system. We've picked up a big land package there. I've doubled the land package in the last 4 years to 300 square kilometers. And the core area, which is the 3 vein sets here of Landia, if I just point to them, Landia, I think I can wander with this, Landia, America, and Mestiza, that's 2.1 million ounces. We think we can add that to 3 million with about 20,000 meters of drilling. And these are satellite deposits. All of these areas we can drill and increase the area. So permitting. For those of you who are shareholders or follow the company, we've had a 18-month delay in permitting. Permitting a mine anywhere in the world these days takes 2 years. It just does. Social, environmental, other issues. We've redesigned the pit. One reason for our delay in permitting is we had to move 330 people, or 330 houses or 1,000 people. We've been in discussions with the government for the last 6 months, and we've resubmitted an amendment to our permit application to avoid any resettlement at all. That's gone down extremely well, and the last 2 times I've been to Nicaragua, I've met the Minister of Energy and Mines, and I've met the President's son. That's a key thing in this part of the world. So our aim would be to add feeder pits and underground coming in later. The recovered gold out of the redesigned pit doesn't really change much, maybe about 5% change, and we'll release details on that later. But the jobs, 500 jobs still created by this mine, and the main thing we're doing is we're moving the processing plant design, processing plant 1.2 kilometers away. I've just put this on here because people say resettlement, where's the village? There is no village here. This is 1.3 million ounces of gold. The top 300 meters is an open pit of 900,000, or 250 meters is 900,000, and underneath that there's 400,000 ounces of gold. The village is way over to the left there. So there is no village, and this is where our reserves and our economic activity has been on. So what we've done, this is the new layout of the plant. This is the pit. We're putting a big barrier of 10 meters high between the pit and the village. We've moved the processing plant from here up to here. sorry, this is in Spanish, but it's a relatively new design. And we put an explosive magazine over here, and the waste, or the tailings, is over here. So that's a new layout. And I can let you know that we've had two important developments this week. We've had a final site inspection by 3 ministries in Nicaragua. That's the Ministry of Energy and Mines, Ministry of Environment, and Ministry of Forestry. So we had 10 people come up this week, which is a very good sign. That was a very positive meeting. And we also had the British ambassador to Nicaragua meet the Minister of Energy and Mines this week on Tuesday. Very positive, and they want to see the mine go ahead. So that 2-year delay that we've had on permits, I think we're very close to a breakthrough in permits. And then a permitted mine is incredibly valuable, particularly at these low all-in sustaining cash costs. So the social benefits of no resettlement, what we've said is no one gets moved. We'll invest in the existing community $1 million in water and healthcare. We'll create 500 jobs. The average wage in the mine is 3.5 times the wage nationally. In fact, it's probably 6 times the wage locally. We're training people there, and we can reduce the poverty in this level. The UN poverty in that village is about 40%. We can drop that in half. So there's lots of very good reasons with 500 jobs, 5 times the local wage, for this to go ahead. And 90% of the community are happy, want to remain by the mine, and want this to go ahead. We have the World Bank, or the IFC, as a shareholder of 7%, and we're fully compliant. They act as a form of political insurance for us. They've arranged meetings with me with the Treasury Minister, or a Chancellor of the Exchequer equivalent in Nicaragua, and they're fully supportive of the mine. And we're mainly de-risked by having all these social and environmental studies to world-class or to World Bank standards, the same as if we were putting a mine up in Canada or Australia or Spain. I mentioned this very briefly, alluded to. The core area is these 3 vein sets. So the second part of the strategy is add another 1-2 million ounces. In the core area, the pits here, we can take this up, we think, to 3 million ounces by drilling down the ore chutes and along strike. And the other 4 small resources, we can expand those, just to give you an idea of the upside. But 20,000 meters of drilling, these are just incremental ounces, very close, that we can add into a mine plan. So that's a no-brainer for us to add that in. And I'll just say, if we get to 3 million ounces, we've also have a scoping level study saying we can get 2 million ounces recovered gold. So that's a $50,000 study. And so what it shows is that in due course, this can go from a 100,000 ounce producer to 200,000 ounces. It'll be in 2 phases, but that becomes very, very valuable and very attractive to people. So this is the district. These are 2 major regional faults going through the district. You see Landia Corridor and Andrea Corridor. There's a 3rd fault linking them together. And here's another fault where everything drops down 150 meters. Now, the gold comes through faults or cracks in the Earth's surface, and you want something complex. We've also, so to show a district, you do soil geochemistry. You take pulps every 100 meters by 200 meters. We have 14,000 collected. We finished in August last year. And these all vector into where the gold's coming from. We've flown with helicopter-borne geophysics. We've done detailed structural models, detailed mapping, trenching, scout drilling, and we've done some areas here where we show the structure exists and we need to follow up. So that's looking very positive to get to that 5 million. That sets the basis for saying this is 5 million ounce plus. And that's very valuable. You're up to $6.5–7 billion on the project. And we've got a market cap of 45, not billions. So that's what we're trying to do. Shareholders, we have Ross Beatty, Canadian entrepreneur, with 8%. The World Bank IFC has 7%. The Swedish fund has 6%. I have 6%. Jim has around 6%. And Canaccord have a shareholder. So quite long-term, loyal, supportive shareholders, a good base. And you can see the chart there. So what next, as I just wrap up? At the moment, it's all about permits. We've just totally focused on permits. We've had a delay, and I'm confident we're through a breakthrough in permits. I can't put an exact time on it because I don't issue them, unfortunately. But then we have 12 months of studies, and at the same time, we'll add another 1 million ounces, so we'll expand that resource, and I've explained that 20,000 meter drill program and to get the core area to 3 million. And then that district will need to do a bit of scout drilling and poking around on the district to prove there's more ounces out there to generate sort of appeal and good news flow that we're up to 5 million. And with that, it concludes my presentation. Thank you for your attention. We have a stand here, 53, and I can take questions afterwards, but I see I'm out of time.